I am D.B. Sonone, Department of Physics, MHG College, Malegaon Camp. Today we have to discuss some electronics experiment which are at the syllabus of high school level. Today we have to see how these experiments are built, connected, what type of connections we have to make. And for that we use the concept of breadboard. There are two questions. One is what is breadboard, and the second one is how to use it. Now breadboard is the board. This is a board on which there are number of holes which are for what? Connections of the components and the wires. Now in this case, if we see this board, then in this board how many number of holes are there? They are according to the manufacturer's choice. There are three types of boards. This is called full board, second one is half board, and third one is the mini board. Now today we have to concentrate on this full board and how to use it. Now this breadboard having these horizontal lines, these are the horizontal lines, and these are simply what happens? Vertical lines. That means this board is consist of, we can say that there are rows and there are columns. Okay, now these rows where we see here, see these rows are mainly used for the power supply lines, this one and this one. All these are connected together. In some boards half are connected together and half are not connected. Okay, that means if we have to connect this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line of holes to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line of holes, then we have to make the connection here. We have to connect the jumper. Jumper is nothing but we can say that the connection of wire. We will see it afterwards. Okay. Now in this case, in the next part, if you see these lines, now these lines are simply we can say that vertical lines as compared to this horizontal. Okay, now the connections are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Therefore, when we connect one component here, then we get 4 options. We get here 4 options to connect the another components or wire. And these 5 lines, these 5 lines are connected together. Okay, same way, all these holes are connected such a way. Okay, now if you see the diagram of such a type of internal diagram, then we are having this internal diagram. See here, very simple way, that these horizontal lines are connected like this. Okay, these are the connections internally made, and these are simply we can say that, see here, these are the vertical lines. Now we can connect, that means it is connected internally, and we have to contact this particular thing for the component. We have to connect the component here and then we go to the process. Okay. Now in this case, when we see this thing, then what type of connections we need, what type of instruments we need, that is very important. Okay. The first thing is that we need here these connecting wires. Okay. Now these wires are called single core wire. Okay, now single core wires, in the sense, if we see this single core wire, we have this single core wire here, see here, which is easily available in the market. Okay, even, see here, this is the single core wire. Okay, and this is the tip of the wire, and even such a type of wires with these tips are also available in market. Okay, now this is a very simple way to connect the circuit. Okay, these wires are there and these wires we have to connect with the board. Now simply we can say that whenever we have to use this board, one thing is that in electronics we know that there are 3 things which are very important. One is the input, second one is the output, and third one is the bias. What is the input? Input is provided to the circuit for processing, and output is a result after the processing. And the third one is the biasing, which is a power supply. That means we can say that external electrical energy is provided to the circuit. Okay, that is also important. Therefore, when we use these breadboards, see here, then power supply is very important and the connections. Okay, now with this we can say, now if we have to connect this particular component, or we can have, suppose the resistors are there, LEDs are there, then how to connect it? Now simply you take this resistor, suppose. Okay, now this resistor we have to make it like this and directly fix it into the holes. See here. Okay. Now if you see this thing, then particularly here, this is connected with these 4 holes and this one is connected to another 4 holes. And if I have to make the connections to another component, then these lines are connected together. Therefore, this resistor get connected to this wire and we can use it for further use. Okay. Same way, the next thing is that now here, this is simply the resistor. Again, this resistor is connected here. Okay, like this. Okay, and then see here. Okay, and then we go to the next component. Okay, now according to whatever the circuit diagram is there, according to whatever we are having to perform the experiments, according to that we have to connect this wire. Now if you see this thing, now one thing again here is that when we have to connect the power supply, then we need these wires. These wires are here. Now these wires are called crocodile wires. Now this tip of wire is just like a mouth of crocodile. Therefore it is called crocodile wires. Okay, these wires generally used to get the power supply, to connect the power supply to the breadboard. Okay, now how to use this breadboard now? If we are having a simple experiment, I have to connect the LED. The circuit is very simple. Now in this case, we can have, see here, the simple circuit we take first and then we go to the experiments actually. Okay, now for this I need one power supply. See here. Okay, now I need one resistor here and we can have this LED. Now this is the symbol of LED. Okay, and directly connect to the negative. This one is a positive, this one is a negative. Now if you see this diagram, then what we need? This is a circuit. This is a loop. Now why this resistance is used here? Now this resistance is for limiting the current to avoid the damage of LED. Now in market the LEDs, these particular resistors, generally 5 volt is required for the LED and we have to use 330 ohm resistor, current limiting resistance in series with it. Now this is positive, negative, this is positive, negative. A simple circuit is here. Okay, even a student can build such a type of projects, okay, easily with the breadboard. Now see here how it is connected. Now see here, I already told you that when we consider such a type of breadboard, then these are the connections. These are simply, we can say that the connections are there. See here, this is the red wire which is connected to the power supply. This is simply the black wire which is connected to the particular, we can say that, negative of the supply. Now see here, in this case, this wire is connected, therefore all these holes are connected together. Now this negative wire is connected, therefore all these holes are connected together. Okay, now see here, this is a power supply. Now power supply, this power supply, use this power supply or this one, anyone you can choose. Okay, now this power supply which we use here, it is having already the potentiometer, or we can say that just like in high school level you use the particular rheostat. Okay, that arrangement is directly here. Okay, even you can use the cell box batteries and you can use the rheostat to increase and decrease the current. Okay, now here directly available power supply is here. This is also the available power supply. Again one thing note here, that When we have to use this power supply, you can easily make this power supply. You can go to the radio shop directly, electronic shop, and you can build such a type of power supply, which is very simple. Or you can use the cell box. That is also useful. Okay. Now in this case, what happens here? We are simple knobs are here. Therefore, I use this one. Okay. Now for this circuit, as you see here, first the resistor is connected. Then the positive of LED, then this is negative, and this negative is again connected to the particular, we can say that, negative of the battery. Okay, then see here, now this is the positive of the battery which is connected here like this, and secondly this as a negative which is connected to the negative. Okay, see here, this is positive, goes to the resistor and then LED. This is negative. Okay, like this. That means this is the complete loop. Positive, resistor, LED. Okay, this is for our example only. Okay, how to use the board. Okay, now I start this thing. See here. Now if I increase the voltage, see here, I start this, and if I increase the voltage, automatically that LED glows. See here, this LED. If I decrease the voltage, automatically what happens here? Its intensity goes on decrease. See here. Okay? See neatly. You listen. Show it properly. See here. Intensity increases and decreases. Okay? Now, this is how we can make the simple circuit, or we test the circuits likewise. Okay? Now, next is the thing. We have to perform the experiment on Ohm's law. Okay, now the Ohm's law, the circuit is like this. Okay, very simple circuit. Okay, as you know that according to Ohm's law, the voltage is directly proportional to the current. That means if voltage increases, current also increases. And this law we have to consider here for the circuit. Okay, now see here, what do we need here? A battery, again same thing. I need one ammeter. Now we are having this ammeter and what? Voltmeter and the connecting wires. Okay, now this is the ammeter which is connected here. See here, what do we have to do here? Now initially the positive of the battery is connected to, see here, I already connect this resistor and all these things together. Okay, you know how to connect it now. Okay, now the second thing is that this positive is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. Okay, and this negative is connected to the resistor. Okay, because the ammeter is in series with this resistor. Okay, we have to measure the current, and simply this is simply we can say that another node of the resistor, and that is connected to negative. Okay, now this is in series now. Now what do we have to connect then? We have to connect this voltmeter across, we have to put it across this resistor. Now this is the positive terminal, directly connect it to the one end of the resistor. See here, and the second is there, directly connected to the another end. Even you can take the connections using these tip wires, or we can say that whatever the single core wires are there. Now see here what happens. See. Okay. Now if you see this thing, now we have to increase the voltage here, and what happens with the ammeter and with the voltmeter, that we have to see. Okay. Now here I increase. See here, increase the voltage. what we get? CR. This current increases, proportionally the voltage also increases. Even sir, take both the one. CR. Again I start here. Now at 0. Now if I increase the voltage, CR, automatically the current also increases. Okay? And easily we can show this experiment to the students. Now you make an observation table. Okay, with the observation table, serial number is there, voltage is there, current is there. Okay, and accordingly you can find the value of this resistor also using the different calculations. Okay, and this is simply the Ohm's law. Okay, which is in your syllabus of high school level, I think. Okay, the next thing is that we are having these experiments now. One is to find the effective resistance in series and to find the effective resistance in parallel. And for this, we are having these connections here. This is power supply connection. These two resistors are in series. Okay? And we have to consider here this as a positive, this as a negative. Directly connect to the battery. Okay? Connect ammeter in series. Connect voltmeter in parallel or across. Okay, this is one. Okay, and the second experiment is here. That is effective resistance of parallel combination of resistance. Okay, even same things are there. Again, we have to connect ammeter. Again, we have to take the readings and so on. Okay, and these experiments which are easily made by you or even the students. Nowadays, you know that. Then you go to the internet, then you get the different things, different projects. Even if you have to develop the skills of the students, okay, then such a type of breadboards are widely used now. Okay, these widely used breadboard, you can make the projects, you can make the assignments.
Dear friends, I am JP Dikshit, Department of Physics, MHG College, Malegaon Camp. I have the opportunity to share general experiments along with you. I will share two experiments. The experiment first, that is study of heat on an ice, and second experiment is natural cooling of hot water. We will see the first experiment, that is study of heat on an ice. For that purpose, we will require the instruments. The instruments are the stand, thermometer, beaker, asbestos sheet, tripod stand, ice, stopwatch, and matchbox. And here this is the gas flame called as burner, or we can use the spirit lamp also. Now this is the actual setup of experiment. We have to do in this experiment, first of all, the use of stopwatch. The stopwatch is used to measure the time, to count the time. This red pointer, when completes one circle, that means it is 16 seconds equal to 1 minute. Every rotation belongs to 1 minute. Similarly, for this thermometer, here we can see that 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, like this up to 100. For 10 to 20 or 20 to 30, there are 20 lines, 20 divisions, and the difference between temperature is 10 degrees centigrade. 20 to 30 means 10 degrees centigrade, belongs to 20 divisions. Therefore, one division belongs to 0.5 degrees centigrade. And this is the smallest reading, smallest observation on this thermometer. Therefore, this is called as the least count of thermometer, which is equal to 0.5 degree centigrade. There are also another thermometers whose least count is 0.1 degree centigrade. Here we are using 0.5 degree centigrade. Now, what is the actual procedure in this experiment? First of all, you have to take the reading of an ice, that is the initial reading, then provide the heat with the help of this burner. We can use spirit lamp also. The heat is given to the beaker, therefore the ice melts. The ice completely melts and it gets converted into the water. The heating process is continued. That water now boils, and after boiling it gets converted into the steam, that is it gets converted into the gaseous medium. That is what happens here in the continuous heating process. The ice is a solid, it gets converted into the water, that is the liquid. This is called as the phase transformation. From the liquid, that is water, gets converted into the gaseous medium, that is the steam. That means the journey of heating which effects on the ice is solid into the liquid and liquid into the gaseous form. When we are doing such type of transformation from one medium to the another medium, we have to take the corresponding readings for every single minute, for each and every minute, and you have to record the temperature. We have to measure the temperature up to near about 90 or 95 or whatever it may be equal to 100 degrees centigrade. Then the observation table, we have completed the observation table. Now with that observation table, we will plot the graph, and the nature of graph is, it is parallel, it is along the graph has, on the y-axis there is a temperature, on x-axis there is a time. It is a temperature versus time graph. The temperature increases, the time also increases. The nature of graph is that it is from the origin, it starts and it is along the x-axis, then it rises along with time and temperature, and again it becomes parallel to the x-axis. Because when we are providing the heat is absorbed by the ice, and that heat is utilized for the purpose to convert ice into the liquid, ice into the water. Therefore, the temperature remains constant. Similarly, for water to steam, the temperature, that heat is absorbed, and the temperature of that portion remains constant. Now we will do the actual experiment. This is the arrangement of actual experiment. We will put the burner on. This is for the purpose of heating. Here the ice is there. Record the first temperature, initial temperature, then provide the heating to the beaker. Now the heating is started. The heat is absorbed by the ice and the melting starts. Now the process is continued. The water after 80-85 degrees centigrade starts boiling and it gets converted, it starts to convert into the steam. At the last you will take the reading up to 90 degree centigrade also, 85 degree centigrade or 80 degree centigrade. This is the number of readings we have recorded after each and every minute, and this completes the experiment, that is ice is converted into the water vapor. Now we will see the second experiment, that is natural cooling of hot water. In this experiment, first of all we have to heat the liquid water such that the temperature now we will see the second experiment. Just now we have seen that this is the hot water and we have to study the natural cooling of hot water. This is the experiment we have to do now. In this experiment, the hot water is there. Arrangement is like the previous experiment. Only the difference is that the highest, suppose the highest temperature is here 70 degrees centigrade, and we have to take the reading after 1 minute, that is the complete rotation belongs to 1 minute. Every 1 minute you have to record the temperature, the observations, that is temperature and time, in such a way that the temperature decreases and the temperature comes to the room temperature. That is the normal temperature of water. Up to that level we have to take the observations. The observation table just now we have completed by taking the readings. Then with the help of this observation table we have to plot the graph. The graph is similar to the first experiment, temperature versus time. The temperature from 70 degree to the room temperature. Suppose just now the room temperature is 25 degrees centigrade. Then you have to draw the graph. The nature of graph is just like a cooling curve. The cooling curve shows that the time increases, the temperature decreases. Then after, the conclusion for this experiment is that if the temperature of surrounding is less and the temperature is higher, hot temperature, then the rate of cooling is higher because the temperature difference is more. Then from the graph we can find the rate of cooling also. For that purpose, you have to consider one point on that graph. That graph belongs to temperature, that graph belongs to time. The time and temperature coordinates are considered. Then the ratio of that theta upon t or d theta upon dt, that is nothing but rate of cooling of the hot water. And we can say that the time increases, temperature decreases, and that depends on the environment, that depends on the surrounding temperature. From these two experiments, we can see the behavior of heat on an ice as well as the behavior of heat on the water, and we have completed these two experiments. Thank you.
You can take the experiment. Take the experiment of refractive index of prism and to find the angle of deviation and angle of minimum deviation of the prism. By using the experiment, we can take the first prism. In that, we can place the prism on that paper and draw the diagram of the prism using the pencil, and we can take the outline of the prism, remove the prism first and take the one point at which we can take the perpendicular. Draw the normal. Now measure the angle of incidence. We can take the first angle from the that suppose first angle is taken as a 35 angle. This is the angle 10, 20, 30 and 35. Okay. Now draw the incident ray from the this is the incident ray. Now given name as a ABC. Therefore AB and AC are the refracting edges and BC is called as a base of the prism. Refracting edges now when take the angle of incidence as a 35 degree. Now we can take the two pins and take the 2 points, one nearer to the prism and another now place the prism and observe the pins through the prism in which we get all the 2 pins on the side AB and side AC are in one line. From this figure, this is the angle of deviation, that 40 degree. Therefore, angle of incidence I and angle of deviation delta. For the 35 angle of incidence, we get the angle of deviation as a 40 degree. Therefore, we can take the different angles, the 35, 40, 45, 50, 55 are the different angle of incidence. This is called as I and this is called as a delta. When it should be travels from AB side to the AC side, it's deviate with this angle of 40 degree. Now we can find the same angle of deviation for that angle of incidence 40, 45, 50 and 55. From that we can find the angle of minimum deviation. For that we can take the graph and from that graph we can find the angle of minimum deviation. It is such that this is the angle I on y-axis and angle delta on the x-axis. Then we can draw the angle of incidence versus angle of deviation. At a particular angle of incidence we get the minimum deviation and that point is called as a angle of minimum deviation. Therefore we get this is the angle I.
Here is from MSc College, Department of Physics. Today we are going to study the refraction of light. Now what is refraction of light? When light travels from one medium to another medium, then it changes its direction as well as velocity. This phenomenon is called refraction of light. Now when light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, then light bends towards the normal and when light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, it bends towards the normal, and when it travels from denser to rarer medium, then it bends away from the normal. Now, by using refraction of light, we are going to verify the laws of refraction. Now, the apparatus, drawing board, drawing paper, glass slab, ruler, pencil, eraser, pins and protector. Now first we draw the outline of this glass slab by using pencil. Draw the outline exactly. Okay. Now complete it by using ruler. Now, this is one point of incidence, means where the incident ray of light incident. Now at that point, draw the normal. It is called normal. Now outside the slab, this is rarer medium, and inside the glass slab, this is a denser medium. Now using protector, draw angle of incidence. Now what is angle of incidence? The angle between incident ray and normal is called angle of incidence. Now here we take the angle of incidence of 45 degree. 45 degree. Now this 45 degree by using protector. Now this is angle of incidence of 45 degree, and this is incident ray. Now incident ray. Now take two pins and fix it vertically on this incident ray, like this way. Now put the glass slab on its previous outline exactly. Now observe these pins from other side of the glass slab, and put the two another pins in the same line. Okay. Now in this case, the direction of pins, this ray of light is deviated. Now be careful such way that these four pins must be in same line. Okay. Now I will see by another side. These four pins are in same line. Using pencil, make the marks on these pin lines on incident ray as well as another side of the pin of the slab. Now for emergent ray, draw the emergent ray like this way. This is emergent ray, and join this point of emergence and point of incidence. This is nothing but refracted ray. Now we see here, this is the incident ray. Okay. If we are extend like that way, in absence of glass slab, the light travel must be in this dotted line. But due to change in medium, light bends towards the normal. In this case, light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, so it bends towards the normal. Now using protector, we can measure the angle of refraction also. Measure angle of refraction also. It is about 25 degree. It is about 26 degree. Now 26 degree. Now this angle of incidence is of 26 degree. Now using formula of refractive index, mu is equal to sin I upon sin R. Mu is equal to sin I upon sin R. We can calculate the refractive index. Laws of refraction. Now when light travels from one medium to another medium, it changes direction as velocity. Now when it travels from rarer medium to denser medium, it bends towards the normal, and vice versa also. When it travels from denser medium to rarer medium, then it bends away from the normal. If we extend incident ray by dotted line, then we can also observe that emergent ray and this incident ray are parallel to each other. We also calculate or verify Snell's law also. Refractive index is equal to sin angle of incidence upon sin angle of refraction.